Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. October 2nd. I guess we're starting a little bit later now, 6:55 for the Arts and Culture and Heritage Committee meeting. Our chair is away this evening, so I will be chairing as the vice chair. So we'll begin with the land acknowledgement. So we would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditional territories upon which we live, work, and play and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions. It is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with its land, its waterways, and its resources. So our second part of our agenda tonight is the actual adoption of the agenda. So if I can get a mover and seconder for that, unless you feel that there isn't, or there's something else you'd like to add to the agenda, we can amend it. But otherwise, if it looks good moving forward, we can get that adopted. Okay, Bella and Deb, thank you very much. So be it resolved that the Arts and Culture Heritage Committee agenda for October 2nd be adopted as presented. So our third item here is the declaration of pecuniary interest. Does anyone have any pecuniary?
Yep. Sorry, can we just get everyone to
vote?
I
forgot to get the vote. Yeah. How's everyone feel about the agenda? Perfect.
I like it.
I'm just moving through.
I approve, but I'm just gonna be right back.
Okay, no problem. Anyone have any pecuniary interests? Perfect. We should be okay with that. If anything does come up during the meeting, you can just let us know. And I guess the minutes now. So the minutes of the Arts and Culture Heritage Committee of September 4th. If everyone had a chance to just sort of look over those. We can adopt those as well. I'll get a motion. I guess I have to maybe second it myself because Kyle wasn't here at the last meeting. So, and with Bella stepped out. So Deb can pass it and then I'll second that. And then I guess we can all just vote, which is okay. I'm assuming Kyle can still vote for that. And okay, so be it resolved that the minutes are accepted as presented. And on to general information. So I guess this is where we just sort of kind of discuss some items that we were looking for information on at the last meeting. So 5.1 is the review for the quotes for the Curling Club murals. So I can speak a little bit about that. I didn't go over in depth with looking at the actual quotes myself. I just sort of made sure that I got them. So if maybe Alice, if you have them, we can kind of pull them up. That would be great on the screen. Then we can kind of discuss them a little bit. There was a little misconception or sort of misinformation, I guess, at the last meeting where we had thought it was going to be a tremendous amount of money in order to do even just one mural, but it's not. So thank God for that. I think it was just a little bit of miscommunication. And I believe it was Linda had reported like $1,700 per panel, and that was only going to be like a 4x6 or something like that panel, and we were going to need like 8 of those panels in order to make you know, a big enough mural. But that's when I spoke directly to one of the quoters, that isn't the case. It was more like around $1,700 for one mural. So as big as we wanted, which was the suggested size that I made everybody kind of quote us for. It is cheaper to do the vinyl on the Allopaint and then install the Allopaint to the building than it would be to install the vinyl directly to the brick. And everybody said that, because even when I messaged a few other people, they said the same thing. They said the material cost for the vinyl for the application directly to the brick is a lot more expensive than the material for the vinyl to be attached to an alloplane, for example, and then attached to the wall. The great thing about that as well, not only is it a little bit cheaper, which is fantastic, but it can be done at any time, because we were worried if we were going to apply the vinyl right to the brick that it has to be done. Obviously, there's a certain temperature that it's ideal for, and we were getting kind of into that, late fall now, where it's going to start raining and being a little bit colder. But with one of the gentlemen I was speaking with, he said the great thing is with the alloplane installed, they apply the vinyl in their shop, so where it's climate controlled, and then they can actually apply the panels to the wall at any time. So preferably, obviously not in the middle of a snowstorm, but but they said it's not a big deal if the weather's a little bit colder. It can be done because the vinyl will already be installed and adhered properly to the alloplane in a climate controlled space, generally being their shop. So that made me a little bit happier as well, because then we have just maybe a little bit more time if we decide we want to do more than just one mural. So we can choose a couple other photos and, maybe have the entire side of the curling club done. So, so that was just sort of a little bit of the background on that. And then we can now maybe go over the quotes so you guys can see how much each individual company was going to sort of charge us.
Okay, so I'm going to share the quotes. There are 3 different quotes, so we'll go through each one individually. Only one of the 3 quotes included the cost for installation. The other 2 did not include the cost of installation. So that is something to keep in mind when we are looking at these 3 quotes. Okay, so sorry, I forgot my mouse at work, and so I'm having to use the mouse on the laptop, and it's not doing exactly what I want it to do.
That's okay. I couldn't get an email to come through, so.
Okay, so let me know when you can see this.
You can see
I
it.
can see it.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is Shelburne Signs.
Okay.
So they sent it in 2 different parts. So this is the first one where the mural is applied directly to the brick.
Okay.
And Lindsay already talked about that. Printed on textured surface vinyl, laminated for longevity. Price includes proof for approval, printing, and installation. And then they do want a site visit prior to printing to confirm the details of the estimate. So for one 11 by 15 mural, it's $2,113.
Okay.
Okay. The second quote that Shelburne Signs sent over, and I've switched, so can you still see it there?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so this 10 by 15, so the numbers aren't quite exactly the same for the size, but we can figure that out. And this is printed and laminated on the panels, mounted to the walls with standoffs so as not to damage the brick. This price includes the proof for approval, printing, and installation, again with a site visit prior to confirm the details of the estimate. So this one is $1,295.
Perfect.
Okay, so just going to flip back to the other one for a second. So directly to the brick, $2,113, and then mounted, $1,295.
95. Okay.
But both
Okay.
of these include installation, right?
Both
Yes.
of these include installation. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Then we got Live to Wrap. Okay. And this one is the sign is 15 by 8, so a little bit smaller because the other one was 10 by 15 and 11 by 15, so a little bit smaller. And the sign on the board is 1750, so that would be the mounted version.
Okay.
And the wrap version directly on the brick $5,625.
Okay,
Well,
Okay, and then this one does not indicate if there is an installation fee on top of that.
okay, so I would have to follow up with them to see.
Okay,
I think it does, but I don't want to assume, so I would definitely
right,
follow them to double check on that.
yeah. And then the third quote is from Streamside Signs. Okay, and this is 11 by 15. Okay, and that's printed on the Ala panel and it's laminated, so this would be mounted on the brick. It's 1,800, and then they're saying approximately 600 for installation on top of that. So
Okay.
you are looking at 2,400.
Around 2,400, okay.
Alice, can we go back to the first company again?
Yes, absolutely.
Not the first one, the second one with the
Okay.
Yeah, with the.
and then scroll up so we've got the company details. I'm not familiar with this one or the last company.
They're new to town.
Okay.
These ones are new to town. Yes,
They are in town. Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Streamline or whatever, the last quote we saw there, they were the company that purchased McCarthy Signs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they purchased McCarthy Signs and then they moved, initially, I think they were using the building for sort of storage and stuff and whatnot. But I believe now that they've sort of taken everything and moved up to Maxwell. So still fairly local, but just not say as local as Shelburne Signs and Live to Wrap.
Okay.
So I guess so. I think Live to Wraps is a little bit smaller because Katrina was mentioning to me that she had gone over at one point and measured the space of where we kind of like in between the columns. There's like sort of like a little bit of like a bump out, and then there's a flat space, and then a little bit of a bump out. And when she measured that space, it's smaller than the 11 by 15. So at least that's what she's saying. So I haven't gone over there myself and measured it, but that's why I think her price is a little bit, or sorry, her size is a little bit smaller, just because of the area, the actual surface area that we have to work with. She's saying isn't 11 by 15. It's more like the 10 by 8 or the 11 by 8. So we would have to just check on that, obviously, and confirm, because I wouldn't want to necessarily go with another company because they have the 11 by 15, which is what we were talking about. But then when they get out there and they measure, it actually isn't, and they are actually the same size as Live to Wrap. And then, I mean, the quotes are really close, right? They're not that far off, but I just wouldn't want a company to lose out just because we're saying that the size is smaller when really it's the actual size that we do need. So, because we were just kind of going off of a quick measurement of the old signs that were there, and I don't know if those signs fit in between those little bump outs or if it went over top of those bump outs. So that might be the difference, right? Is because we were just kind of going off of the old signs that were there, and we might not need that large sign because the surface area we actually have is a little bit smaller. I also was looking at Live to Wrap did sort of send a little rendition on how it would sort of look in between the little bump outs, and it
Did you want me to share that, Lindsay?
Yeah, sure. If you have that handy, we can sort of share that. Just it's literally a very, very quick basic, like obviously we would slide that down a little bit. It wouldn't be, at the very top of the roof, but the photo isn't level properly, and you know what I mean? So in between, like you can see there's like a little column and a little column on either side. Those are those little bump outs that kind of stick out a little bit that I was talking about. So I think, I mean, as much as I love how that looks, I almost think we need to do something similar to what we did at JD Park, and we need to frame it. We need to kind of have just a frame look around the photo itself to sort of well, frame it. I don't know what else. I don't know. There's not another word, I guess, to describe it, but I think it would look a lot nicer if we sort of had that look like we did with JD Park, where we sort of put a frame around the photo itself. At the bottom, we could even on what would be sort of look like a maybe a wooden type older frame, or an elegant kind of like thicker profile around the picture. On the bottom of it, we could even do a little something that looks like a plaque, and on the plaque we could state what you're looking at, right? So for example, with the print that we chose, I think it was the picture of the downtown, right? I think it was
Yes.
that one. So we
Yes.
would just on the little plaque that would be on the picture frame around the picture, it would say, Shelburne, downtown. And if we know the date, we could say circa whatever the date is. And I think that would kind of just add a little bit, I don't know, a nicer look to it. But that would be it. I mean, that's the only thing I would change about the photo. Is just if the photo itself would be a little smaller, because we would just put a frame around it, little plaque at the bottom saying what you're looking at and maybe the year. And then secondary to that is whether or not, now that we're seeing these prices, right, we're seeing that it's only going to be about, say, $2,000. Do we want to do more than just one? My vote would be to do more. I would get like 3 done, right? Because we initially thought that the one was going to cost us like $6,000. So I would do at least 3, but because like I said, we have to use up some of that money, or council isn't going to give us anything. Kyle, what do you think?
I don't really want to put it off until next meeting, but I think it's important. I've seen the quality of Live to Wrap, love what they do, but we need to confirm 100% whether that's installation included. We need to compare apples to apples.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
So what I'm saying is maybe we put this off tonight until the next meeting when we have the actual full details as far as the cost goes.
right.
Are we not looking at a $500 difference between Shelburne Signs and Live to Wrap though?
Yes.
And that
Yeah, I'm not saying to,
And
I'm
we
not saying
know
to go with
it's,
someone specific. I'm just saying,
yeah,
so.
like even if Live to Wrap was labor included, installation included, we're still looking at, well, $455 difference.
the only issue I have is that I have seen Live to Wrap's work. I haven't seen either of the other two. I have no idea about quality and that sort of stuff. And being in the industry, that's kind of where I get a little picky.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Alice.
So 2 things. If there's some hesitation, so with quotes and with being municipal, there is expectation that when you're putting out requests for quotes, that the lowest received quote is the one that is taken. If the lowest received quote is not the one taken, you have to have a very solid legal reason as to why the lowest bid is not the one taken. Okay. So that being said, what you could do, understanding Kyle's point of view, not having seen this work, having seen the other company's work, you could go forward with one, and then you have a comparison.
Right.
And then if after doing the one, you have, and you're not satisfied, then you have valid reasons for going forward with 2 and 3.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Right.
Not trying to sway one way or the other, but just
Yeah, no. My biggest point was we don't know 100% whether the installation was included or not. My main point was we should have apples to apples comparison. So I was basically suggesting that we defer to the next meeting until we knew for sure.
so adding on to that, since Lindsay is suggesting a frame, I would suggest that you go back to the lower 2 and ask them to go to the location, confirm the sizing that they think would be appropriate, and confirm what the cost would be with the frame, and bring new quotes to the next meeting.
I think Yeah, I was going to say, I think we specify installation as well.
Yeah, and actually I would do all three just to make sure that you're still getting three quotes, even though we do have one quote. We want to make sure we're giving all three equal opportunity to quote on the same changes.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
So I would suggest then, if that's what everybody wants to do, that we pass a resolution, that we reach back out for adding a frame, the company confirming the size that will go there,
Yep.
and whether or not the quote includes installation.
I'd move that.
Okay.
I have a question. When we're talking a frame, are we talking like a matting like that, or a physical frame?
No, it would just be an image.
Almost like a Polaroid?
Yeah,
like
like, well,
An
but it
old
would look,
Polaroid picture? Okay.
yeah, but it would
Lindsay, are
look
you
like
talking
a-
about having it as part of the picture?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
like it
then
would
I can tell you
literally be-
I can tell you right now, as far as artwork goes, that's not going to affect the cost whatsoever.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So that's great because it's literally just self-imposing the image of a frame around the picture, right before it's printed.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be an actual physical frame. It would be an image sort of put around the image. I know that sounds crazy, but it's yeah. So an image of a
That's
frame
what I
around
thought you meant.
the
Yeah.
image. And then the same thing with the plaque, right? They would just have to design sort of a little JPEG or something like that image of a little plaque that says, downtown Shelburne, circa whatever, if we know the year. And then that would just be applied to the frame applied around the image. So it'd be basically like an image on an image on an image type of thing. So it all is just a vinyl printed image, but it has the look of like being a hung photo, basically, like in a picture frame.
Right.
Because I think without that, it just looks it looks
Lost. It
very
gets lost in the brick.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It just blurs kind of into the brick. You don't really pay attention. And if you've ever seen the one at JD Park, it has that. It does have like a frame around it, and it really just helps to sort of set it off, really nicely and just give it that finished look, right? So yeah, you're right, Kyle. I don't think that would change the price unless somebody is charging for the artwork. And then if there's a little bit more time put into the artwork just to create that frame and create that little plaque, then that
If it
would be
affects
only
the price that much, that's not a company I want to deal with.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Because most of the time, obviously, if it's just something fairly simple or forward, it would already be included in the artwork fee. Because I know we did see one that said something about artwork on one of the quotes. So I'm assuming that's just to touch up
Typically
the
what they call a
photo.
setup.
Yeah,
what they call a
exactly.
setup,
A
getting it
setup
perfect.
and just, if the photo needs to be a little bit digitally enhanced because we're going to be enlarging it so big. Sometimes there's a little bit of work that needs to be done with regards to that. So that's usually part of, like, Kyle mentioned, the sort of setup / art fee. But yeah, okay, so I can reach back out to the companies and make sure that in their quote they sort of list exactly what's included, and ask them, do a request for them to go out and have a look at the site itself and double check and make sure on the size. And and then obviously just to, sort of with the artwork, because I did send them all the artwork so they knew exactly what they would be quoting, just to sort of add a frame around it with maybe a little small plaque at the bottom. And then the great thing is if we decide to do more after this installation, right, we can figure that out. We can use the same frame maybe to have it sort of look coherent across the whole wall, and the same idea with maybe the little plaques at the bottom too, so that the one thing that stays consistent is the frame around the image, but the image changes. And we know that we had a couple of really close choices when we were choosing this one. So right off the bat, we wouldn't have to waste too much time with choosing a couple more, because we really liked the garage one, and I think what was the other one?
Is it the train station?
Yeah, Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the train, because we were gonna do the train station on the west side of town, but we haven't been given any permission to use the building that we wanted to put it on, and we just can't seem to get a hold of the owner to get that permission. So yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the little garage and the train station. So, you know we've got 2 more images sort of ready to go that we could use right away. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing that concerns me is not using up this money before the budget with council. So, I mean, the only thing I can stress to council is that yes, we have this money still, but it's basically ready to be allocated for something. We're just
doing due diligence.
Yeah, we're just doing our due diligence to make sure that the company we choose is going to do a good job. We didn't want to waste the money by having one company do all 3 or 4 signs, murals immediately, and then perhaps the quality isn't what we expected. So, the money's, yes, it looks like we physically have the money, but it kind of isn't there because we have decided to do more murals. We're just kind of doing one first to see how it goes, and then we'll do the other ones. And that might hopefully convince them that we still need the requested amount that we've set forward to request. Because otherwise, yeah, council might say, you've got this money in the bank, we're not going to give you any more, especially during a fiscal year where there's some other crucial decisions that have to be made that are going to potentially affect financially the town as a whole. So that's where I will sort of work my magic, I guess, is to let them know that it's on the books. We're it's sort of already spent, but we're doing our due diligence, making sure we put up a quality product. Okay, so I guess we have to sort of make a motion for that. I guess, Alice, just to sort of
Yeah, so Kyle moved the motion
okay.
that we reach back out to the 3 companies to revise the quotes, confirming the size, adding a frame and a plaque.
Okay, perfect.
Image
All right.
of a plaque.
Yes, yeah, image.
So Kyle has moved that.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, Deb will second that, and then all in favor? Perfect. Okay, so that passes. So that's something I will follow up with probably tomorrow or Friday. And okay, so we do need to look at 5.2, which is the change of the date for the November meeting. We are proposing Wednesday, October 30th instead of November the 6th. I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe Alice can speak to that. Go ahead.
I am away the first 2 weeks of November, and so we don't have staff coverage to do a meeting those 2 weeks. So
Okay.
we can't have a meeting on the scheduled date of the 6th. So since there are 5 Wednesdays in October, my suggestion is, instead of just canceling a November meeting, if everybody's available on the 30th instead of the 6th, then it's still basically a 4-week turnaround.
Yeah.
And then that way, if we're reaching back out to quotes, then you're not waiting till late November.
Exactly.
You can come back at the end of October, make the decision, and we can still get something ordered before year end.
Yes, exactly. And that, I would prefer that, to be honest, just to sort of get the ball moving as quickly as we can. So I vote yes to that. I guess, do we need a motion for that, or do we just
I do need a motion because
Okay.
it is just so that everybody on the committee is, yes, I would appreciate a motion.
Perfect. So if I can get someone to move that and second that, just that we change the November 6th meeting to October 30th. I'm assuming same time, sort of 6:45-ish. And perfect. So Kyle and seconder. Okay, we'll go with Bella. And all in favor? Perfect. And
Thank you.
so we will see everyone on October 30th, which is excellent because that allows us hopefully to get things moving a little bit quicker. Okay, so 5.3 is the keychains update. So I'm assuming, Alice, you have some information on that, and I will let you go
do.
ahead.
No,
Oh, perfect. They're
they
already
look awesome.
I was like, for a second, I was like, whoa.
That was
I have the
fantastic.
keychains.
Yay!
They came in, they look wonderful. All the staff in the office are like, can I have one? Can I have one? So I'm really
I want
guarding
one.
them. I'm really guarding them.
I know.
So Alice,
I-
you're gonna kind of sneak one for each of the counselors at the next meeting,
Yes,
right?
the counselors will receive one at council. Yes, I will
Nice.
have one for each of the counselors. Technically, this one is at home with me, but it is going back in the box tomorrow. It is not mine. Like I
We saw
haven't
nothing.
taken
It's
one.
okay.
Well, I
Oh,
think Alex
that's great.
deserves one. I think Alex and all the staff and the counselors deserve one.
Yeah.
So they
yeah.
just came in on Monday. So my update was going to be that they're ordered, that but nope, this is your update. So
Yay! They look
and
fantastic.
Bella, I didn't show you today when you were in the office because I didn't think it fair to give you the sneak peek. But if you are around the office later on at some point, Deb, you as well, if you want to come and pick one up, please feel free to drop in and see me. And yes, have your
Okay.
keychain
I
as well.
actually lost my car keychain.
Oh.
Perfect.
So perfect.
So yeah, so everybody was very impressed. They are very nice. I think you'll be very pleased with them once you actually
Has there
physically
been
see them.
some years of discussion, Lindsay?
Yeah, so many. It has been literally years with an S on trying to get these darn things actually in our hands, physically in our hands. So this is a great day. It's exciting. I know people are like, what is wrong with that girl? She's excited over a keychain, but honestly, yeah, it's been at least 2, I think, or more. Oh gosh,
I think it's 3 years that we've been talking about it at least.
Right? Like I can't. I've lost track with how long it's been since we brought the concept to the committee, and so yeah, I'm just so excited that we finally have them like actually physically in our hands. So with those, I think the thought was that we were just going to sort of hand them out if we attended an event or something like that, right? It wasn't going to be sort of like a small fee for a fundraiser. No? Okay.
I mean,
right.
you still can. You can still absolutely make that decision. At this point,
Okay.
they're just in the office, and I will hang on to them so that if you are going to an event, just like staff would print off materials about the committee or whatever for other events. Like at this point, we'll just hang on to them until you're ready for them. But yeah, they are there. And absolutely, you can make the decision still to sell them. You can, that can still be determined based on depending on what the event is.
Yep.
And there should be some committee discussion before any committee member just starts handing them out. Like the committee should agree, this is an event where we're going to use these and in what capacity we're going to use these. But that doesn't have to be decided today. Today, we can just appreciate that they're here.
Okay.
Nice.
That's great. That's fantastic. So yeah, we can always have a discussion regarding, like I said, whether we're just going to sort of hand them out, or if maybe we want to use them as a again, just a small fee, but something that would be sort of a fundraiser to maybe purchase more. You know what I mean? Like just that sort of thing, that it's sort of a self-sustaining project, but again, we do need things that justify our request to council for money as well. And when they know that we've got something as cool as this and then we're giving them out, they're more likely to be accepting of sort of giving that money to say, yeah, you know what, next time you order 1,000, right? We want to make sure that we have a good amount. They could maybe even be used to give when somebody gets a community excellence award, maybe they get a keychain as well, right? So there's other things that we could potentially, use them for. If there's somebody coming to town that, like say Ford or something, Doug Ford comes to town. I know they were at the KTH not long ago. Maybe they get a keychain for coming to the town, right? And a pin or something like that. So there's ways to use them in other ways as well. the great thing is yes, justifying sort of the cost to council is a little bit easier when we say we're handing them out to the community for free or giving them, using them in other ways to buy more. So, but again, like I said, there's always the idea for sort of fundraising too, because sometimes council says, how are you making your own money? So, that's always a thought process as well. And okay, perfect. So those are great. And so I guess 5.4 is just sort of a review of a button making machine. So as I've mentioned in the past, again, it's not something that we have to do, but it's just I bring ideas when I get them. And I did see at the fall fair we had the MOD come out, so the Museum of Dufferin, and they had a booth on Saturday, and they were actually making buttons. And the kids loved it. They loved it. My daughter went up and she made a button, and she's like, "Mom, make a button," and I'm like, "I'm good." But they were very busy with the kids sort of making buttons. And I actually reached out I spoke to the girl that was there, and I just said, this looks like actually a really good unit. How do you feel about it? How long have you used it for? And she said she loved it. She goes, it may be a little bit of a sort of initial investment. And she said, but they've used it multiple times at their own events within MOD, at other events when they come out to the community thing, like the Fall Fair and Orangeville Fall Fair and stuff of that nature. She's like, it's worked really well. It hasn't had any issues. It's well made and built. So I got her to send me the link, and I included that sort of, I just picked a random, because they had a whole bunch of different sizes. Oh my God, so many different sizes. So I just picked I think it was 1.25 inch button. So not something that's too big, but not something that's too small. And I chose sort of the business package, I believe is what it was called. And it comes with like a hole punch, which is great. So it hole punches paper to the exact size of the button. So, which is awesome, because otherwise I kind of don't really know how I'm supposed to make paper that fits inside the button. So when I saw the hole punch, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, a hole punch. That makes it so much easier. So it is a sort of a little, like I said, it is an investment. It's on sale right now, but I also went on to Amazon and I pulled out a couple from Amazon. There's a lot on Amazon. A lot of them are plastic. A lot of them have mixed reviews as to whether they work or they don't work. The longevity of them. Some people said initially they worked amazing. And then very shortly after making, say a handful of buttons, the press wasn't pressing anymore, or it was crunching the side and not crunching some of the other sides. So I kind of went through and I tried to find a couple that had at least good consistent reviews. So they're considerably cheaper than the one that was used by MOD, but they didn't have, they don't come with a hole punch. They don't, they do come with some supplies. I think the one from the MOD comes with 1,000, I believe. It's 1,000 piece, where the ones from Amazon were only about 500. So, and then just ordering supplies wise, I guess that's where we just figure out if we run out, then okay, where do we want to order some supplies? The one that was from the MOD, you can order all the supplies through them still, so you're getting fairly good quality. But yeah, so I kind of tried to find some that I felt would be worth the money and not break on us. So you guys, it'd be left up to you if you want to make the purchase or not make the purchase or defer it to later, whatever you're thinking. I just wanted to have just something else that if we did an event that, we could offer. Yeah, sure.
What price range are we talking?
Yeah, so I'll get Alice to put them up on the screen so we can kind of have a quick look.
Okay, just give me 1 second here.
Yep.
Okay, so Lindsay, this isn't the one that you had first shared with me. I'm on the same website, but this is a larger size.
Perfect. Yeah, this is the, I think
Button,
this is the
because
business.
I was
it's the larger
concerned.
size. Okay.
it's a larger size button. My concern, sorry, just butting in for a second, a
Yeah.
1-inch button could be pretty small for younger kids to try to
Okay.
color something on a 1-inch button,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
I'm thinking all ages for an artsy thing, right? For arts
Something
and culture, an
bigger.
artsy thing, a bigger button is going to be a little bit easier to actually put something on it that
Definitely.
could be. So sorry, I personally switched it. I was just looking at it and I
Nope.
switched it to the 2¼ inch button. But this
I'm totally
particular
okay with that.
company has different size buttons. They have a 3-inch button, which that's pretty big, but they do go as small as the 1-inch, which is the one that you sent me. So if you want me to go back to the 1-inch, I can, not a problem.
No,
Um,
this is fine. This is fine. The one that the mod was using, I'm assuming, might have actually been around this size, the 2¼
Okay.
inch, because it's a fairly
So
decent sized button.
yeah, and it includes the hole punch and 1,000 things to make buttons. The other thing that this one has an option for is so that you could do magnets as well
Yeah.
from this
Yeah.
one, turn them into magnets. So that one has an option as well.
Yeah.
Then another one that Lindsay sent me. So this is just to cut the paper to the specific sizes for buttons. So this is not the button making.
No.
This is just to cut the buttons,
Yes.
paper. And then this is a 1-inch button maker.
Mhm.
And it comes with 500 button components, and
Yeah.
it does include the circle cutter.
Yes. So
Um,
the circle cutter for this guy, I did have when I was reading some of the reviews, it was a little bit of mixed reviews with that, because some people were saying it doesn't really stay in place, because it's, if you look on the left hand side here, you'll see this longer clear plastic component here. At least it looks like plastic. Yes, that guy right there. So I think that's the circle cutter. So I think it works sort of almost like a oh gosh, what are those things called when you make the circle with the, almost like a protractor, but it's not a protractor. It's
Compass.
got a little, yeah, it's got that. Yes, that's it, a compass, exactly. So it's I think it works maybe similar to that, where you sort of stick it and then twist, like circle around. So some people were saying that like it moves too much, so it doesn't create a perfect circle, and it's just not as beneficial as I guess they were hoping it would be. So that's why I included the just the punch alone, right? So that it's almost $200. I think it was there, 170 something for just the punch, because I figured we would likely need that hole punch kind of thing in order to facilitate at least cutting 500 pieces of paper. So like I said, this one, or one of this nature, again, this is a smaller one, so I could look for a larger button maker instead of a 1-inch. I'm sure they have different sizes available. It is metal, which is nice. That's why I went with this one, because it kind of has that metal aspect to it. Again, it had fairly high reviews at about a 3.8 to I think one of them I was looking at was a 4.2. And that, of course, is out of 5, with a decent amount of sort of reviews, being like this one has 151 reviews. I think one of them that I put on there had actually even more. I was actually kind of shocked. I was like, wow, that many people want to buy a button maker. There's a considerable difference in cost. So I wasn't sure.
And then you did have one more here. Sorry, my
Yeah.
screen is being silly.
That one there, and I can't remember. Yeah, I don't see. Oh, there's 75 ratings on that one, and it's a 4.4. So that one had a higher rating and a little bit more of a consistent tell that it was sort of, most people were saying it worked really well. I think this one came with a couple of different sizes, to be honest. I think that's why, because it says it's a 3-inch press kit, but I think there was also the option to swap out the little metal dies that are there for a couple of different sizes. So that I thought was kind of cool too. So I'm like, well, that would be neat if you could do a couple of different sizes, you know.
This one's
I mean,
100 pieces instead of 500 pieces.
this one has 500 pieces. Yeah.
No, it says 100, doesn't it?
Where does it
just
say?
500.
Right there.
Making
Um,
500 piece
100
book,
piece.
and circle cutter and magic book.
Yeah, it's weird because so
Oh.
down there under the model name, which makes no sense. You're right. It says 100 pieces, but then up in the description it says 500. So this is
So
the-
I think what it is, it's 500 pieces altogether, but it doesn't make 500 buttons.
Mm.
Gotcha.
You
Right.
need multiple pieces to make a button.
right. You're right.
Right.
That's likely exactly what it is, and that's how Amazon gets you sometimes.
Yes.
is they
So
they love to
that's-
put the big word out, 500 pieces, but you're right. It'll only make 100 buttons.
Right,
Right, as
correct.
opposed to the one that was about 650 or 670 through the
Yep.
People Press company,
Yep.
where you're making 1,000 buttons, right?
Yes, it was
so
1,000 button pieces.
Yeah. yeah, exactly, and I think that would last us quite a while, to be honest. But yeah, so it depends on. With getting like you said, sort of Alice, with regards to quotes, right? Like, technically we should be going with say the
Well,
lowest, but
this is a little bit different than quotes. This is
Okay.
purchasing an item. This is not the same as getting a quote.
gotcha.
So, yeah, and so with this one, you could go with the one that fits that you're dealing with a company and you're getting what you need.
Right, exactly. And that's where I know it's, like I said, a little bit of an investment. But if you're investing in quality, then it hopefully won't fail you, type of thing, right? And so it'll sort of end up kind of paying for itself in the long run. Whereas with Amazon, you're kind of, it can be a hit and miss. I mean, I don't know, People Press, it could be hit and miss too, right? I mean, I'm just going off of that. The mod highly recommends them, and they've had the press for quite a while, and they've used it multiple times and never had a problem, and just absolutely love it. She says she loves it. It's great. It works super easy. It's 2 seconds. You put the thing in, you put it, you swing it, you put the handle down, boom, you've got a button. I did love the idea, like you mentioned, Alice, that you can sort of purchase other kits that will turn the button, instead of from a button, like a pin back, into a magnet, which I thought was kind of cool as well. We have a little bit of options there. I don't know with the Amazon purchase if there's that option as well through that company, the Velour or whatever the company was there that makes the button press. There could be. I didn't get a chance to really investigate that. But yeah, so like I said, I was just bringing some information to the committee, and you guys can sort of decide what, if anything, you would want to do. Also, Alice, with our budget that we still have, the bench for Alex came out of our budget. Did it not? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it
I was
did.
gonna say,
Yeah.
it should have. Okay.
Yes, the bench and the plaque came out of the committee's budget. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because I was a little
Yeah.
worried last time we were talking about budget, and I sort of forgot to
Yes, the bench didn't get mentioned. I didn't have the invoice, but the invoice has come in. It has been paid. It has come from the committee's budget. So there is still room in this year's budget if the committee wishes to purchase a button machine, and like the keychains, you're purchasing this for the future, right? Like you're spending money now for plans for future events. So if you choose to, you do have the budget for it this year.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so I don't know what the thoughts are from the rest of the committee, if it's something you think would be interesting to have when we do hopefully start to either attend some events or produce some of our own events. Like I would love to see maybe in the spring, maybe like an art in the park kind of idea, where we have some vendors with their artwork or whatnot at JD Park, and then we could have obviously a little table with the button maker, and some keychains, some walking brochures of the back lanes, that sort of thing, just to sort of show people that we're here and what we're trying to do. Some, just a questionnaire for people. Hey, what else would you like to see us doing in the town? That sort of thing, so that we can engage community input as well. Maybe some concepts of, if we don't get all the murals done, maybe we have some options of photos for the community to actually look at, and get some votes, right? I mean, we loved the garage and we loved the train station, but maybe 200 people show up to the art in the park and they're like, no, we actually don't really love this one, we like this one instead, right? And then instead of it being our decision, we've created almost sort of a little mini community decision to sort of have their input as to what's going on the walls in their town as well. So I would love to see something like that. Maybe even a little event where somebody comes and teaches people how to paint. So, it's almost like a little instructional kind of evening or whatnot, where we have someone who's like, okay, this is a fairly easy painting to do. And then, we have a little group of people that can bring a canvas and some paint and paint it as well. But yeah, I would like to see, a couple of events for next year, even if they're just small like that, just so that we can say we've done something sort of under our belt. And like I said, really sort of show council that we are moving forward with some of these things. And that's why we've requested the amount of money we've requested. So go ahead, Deb.
Things like art in the park, is there admission charge to things like that?
I probably wouldn't, just because to me, I want to have as many people come out as possible. It would be something that the committee could decide on whether or not we wanted to charge the actual vendors. And again, it would be by saying vendor, I do mean more like an art-based vendor, right? Like, so somebody who would be showcasing their paintings, their photos, their sculptures, their mixed media, something of that nature. Not to say anything, degrading about, say, Scentsy or somebody who sells candles. But this would be specifically for, the art related vendor, right? So someone who's crafting
So the
something.
button maker could be like, if somebody is paid to be a vendor, or if somebody does pay admission to get in, you could have a button made that is, vendor, Shelburne vendor or whatever, or they get a button for their admission or something like that. So you might get money back to reinvest.
Yep. Yeah, you're exactly right. So even something like that, 100%, right? You could use that to identify people either coming in or to identify the vendors that are there. They just like, I'm a vendor or I'm an artisan, right? And then it has like the little heritage or heritage sort of logo on it as well, and maybe even says what the the event is, whatever we call it, if we call it art in the park. So it can be used for that as well, right? As opposed to only just for, say, kids. There's other options that we can sort of utilize something like this as well. So,
Lindsay, may I make a suggestion before we get too far off onto planning something else from the buttons?
100%.
Just give each person the opportunity just to give their thoughts verbally about the button making machine before we move on from that, to determine if we want to make. For sure.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to sort of start off, whether they yay or nay, and then I guess we can go from there, whether if we get a consensus of people who say, yes, actually, we'd love to purchase it, then we can, or if the majority says no, then we just sort of move on.
I think it's something that we can investigate further, that I think there's a use for it. My personal feeling is if our budget gets cut right back in November, then maybe there's better places to spend the money if we have a lot smaller budget for next year. But
so Deb, it's not that the budget would get cut back. It's you have this money already this year. If you don't spend this money, it's gone. It doesn't carry forward to next year.
Okay.
Okay, there is some money in reserves that are for specific projects, like finishing the back lanes. That money is specifically for back lanes, but the budget from council that was requested for 2024, if it is not spent in
It
2024,
disappears. Okay.
it disappears. So that's where I was indicating you do have the money for it
Yeah.
this year. It
Okay.
doesn't mean that that money will carry forward to next year.
Yeah.
If that changes your opinion. If it doesn't, that's
No,
fine.
no.
I just wanted
Yeah,
to
no,
make
oh, yeah.
sure you.
No,
I
I
think
think,
it's
I
good.
think it's, yeah.
I think it's a good idea. To be honest with you, I'm kind of indifferent one way or the other. As far as cost goes, it's not extravagant. So, like I said, I'm kind of indifferent on it. Not really on the fence. Not yay, not nay. I'm okay either way. Alice, where are we at with the budget for this year?
So unfortunately, I can't get into the system to look at budget numbers because I don't have access tonight to an IT issue. But I can give you approximates. The bench was about $4,000. I believe the plaque was about $200. And then we're hoping that at least 50% of one of the murals will be from this year. So that would be looking at the numbers. I'm just going to round it up to 1,000, even though we know it's less than that based on these numbers.
Yeah.
So that's 52. And then there was the keychains, that was $600. So that's 58. And your budget was 18,000.
Yeah, so we still have like 10,
And
12.
then I think there was, we're hoping that some of them, now part of that 18 includes what's in reserves for the back lanes,
Right.
which is about 2,500, I believe it is, to finish. And we're just waiting for, I'm waiting for one more confirmation for family member information to contact them to make sure they're okay with the names the committee has chosen before. So we're still hoping that we can get some of that money spent for the back lanes this year, but at least the names have been decided on. So you're not even going to be at half of your budget.
Okay, so the only other comment that I would make is I would hate to look like we're just spending money because it's there. So in that regard, I think it would look far better on the committee to allow money to go back to council into reserves or whatever else than just to spend money because it's there.
I'd like to spend it without
Yeah,
it going to
I
reserves.
don't mind spending it, but it's got to be something that everybody instantly sees a use for and a reason for.
Yeah,
It-
there was something that was brought up at the memorial that we
Mhm.
want to have a movie night. And I know this sounds weird, but they really want to have a movie night. Like outside.
Mhm.
So there are things
doing something else, absolutely. What I'm specifically talking about the button machine.
Yeah, I'm just saying like I mean it's not that we're gonna do a movie night. I'm just saying I know there are things to spend it on before the year's over.
For sure.
And I think like we've been a really conservative group here. I mean not politically, but and I think we've been holding off, like really holding off. And I think we can actually do what some of the Shelburne folks want. Finally, I think we were just being responsible by seeing how much we have left. And I think this is great
Mhm.
to be able to spend it and actually go back to them and say, hey, your committee heard you. Because I think people learned about the Arts and Heritage Committee at last Saturday during the celebration with the plaque. And they're like, oh, can we do this? Can we do this? And I was like, I actually didn't know anything about the budget. And I was like, I can always take it back.
Mhm.
And one of them was movie night.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, and that was just my sort of point as well with the murals, right? Was to try and get some done if we can, right before the end of the year. But if we're just gonna go kind of with the one to see, you know, what the outcome is of it, then the other murals will likely have to come from the new budget that will be given to us for 2026, 2020.
And some of the money in your current budget is from a heritage reserve from when the committees were separated. So that money will carry forward. I don't have the exact numbers, but I do believe you will be able to get at least one more mural from that heritage budget. So you will have money to complete the mural.
Right. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like money isn't going back, because a good portion of it would technically be going back. And I guess without anything being done. So this is my dilemma with this committee, is nothing ever gets done. But that's just my opinion. So I don't care either way, but like I said, it's always a bunch of talk and goes nowhere.
No. We got a lot done. A lot of people came and were inspired this past Saturday, and that happened really quickly, Lindsay. And that was you. I didn't think of a plaque.
I don't know. I always have ideas. I always have, I always bring them and they always get shot down. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm not bringing any more stuff.
No, that's unacceptable. Of course, you're going to bring stuff.
So, I'll leave
But
it
I
up
think
to
that's
other people.
for the committee. I think that's an advantage. Like, you looked into these. This is the first time the committee is seeing these numbers and these details. So I think it's fair to give the committee time to think about it and think further on it. You had this information already. They just got a little blurb on the agenda. So I think it's fair to give them a bit more time on it. We can always bring it back for an actual vote at the next meeting. In this way, people can review it. And I can send each of you the links that Lindsay forwarded so that you can review them and make a more accurate decision. And we can just table the conversation on that for now.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Along with what Alice said, a lot of people take pictures in front of them. There's really nothing else in Shelburne.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can all agree we love the murals, so those are definitely going to go forward for sure. It's just other ideas, right? Like, I'm so open for other people to bring ideas, and we'll discuss them, but it just never happens. So I'm at the point where I guess for me, I'm done. Like, I've brought all that I think I can bring for right now, and so I'll leave it up to you guys to bring stuff in the future.
So if we have ideas, it's my first year on the committee. If we have ideas, do we just send it to Alice to put on the next agenda?
So I
Yeah,
always
sure.
review anything with Linda as chair before I place it on the agenda. So you could send it to Linda and myself. Just send an email to both of us, and then other option is if time allows within an agenda. If there's not a very big agenda, we do try to limit the meetings to an hour and a half, just to be respectful of everybody's time late in the evening. But if there is something, it hasn't been a busy meeting, and you go, oh, this relates to this, could I add this? Like, the next item on the agenda is new business, if anybody has anything. But if you know in advance, it's always best to email Linda and myself to just request, then everybody's aware that it's going to be on an agenda.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes we can talk about new business, like, so if you have some ideas under new business, you can always sort of suggest them there. And then from that point as well, then it can sort of be slightly, discussed at that point, but it can also be put under for further review at, say, the next meeting. And then it's almost like sort of tabling a motion at council, where we can sort of sit with it until the next meeting, and then we can do a little bit of a deeper discussion on it, maybe some voting, and if there's any further information that you need to bring to sort of support that, like, if you have an idea and you're like, okay, you know what, here's the information that goes along with my idea, because we're going to need A, B, and C, maybe here are the costs for A, B, and C, or, whatnot, or that helps as well. But yeah, definitely under new business, if you've got some ideas, it's great to sort of throw them out there, and then we can really look into them for the next meeting for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so do we need a motion for the button thing to go for next, just like think about it,
Yeah.
and we'll come back to it with old business at the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that takes us to number 6, which is the new business section of the agenda. So if there are any new ideas or anything that anyone wants to sort of discuss, now would be the time.
Okay,
So,
I
I
don't
have to
yet.
be honest. I have to be honest. Since I've been going back and forth, putting my son to bed and back, I just need to know something. Like, okay, so we didn't vote for the mural. Is that what just happened?
No, we didn't vote for the button making machine.
yeah,
Oh,
the mural is just,
$649.
yeah, that's one of them, right? That's the one from the People Press.
Yeah.
But what we did do for the murals is that we're going to get a little bit more information and a little more clarity. So,
And we'll bring the murals back
but-
to the next
Okay,
meeting.
but Lindsay, why are you so upset? I don't get it. What's upsetting? Like, I want to know what's going on.
the dragging of the feet all the time.
The keychains took 2 years.
Yeah.
You think murals are gonna go
My
quicker?
exact point. It's
But we're a government committee.
it just, I swear committees are made so that things don't actually happen. It's
No, oh my
It's
God, I can't.
like-
Okay, that's
because it just doesn't. It's every time we come to a
It's
meeting,
happening. It
always,
just
we'll
takes-
talk about it next meeting. Talk about it
it
next
just
meeting.
takes us laymen a little longer to read and understand the issues. That's all it is. Okay, we'll go on to the next thing, but I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be fine. We're all gonna vote after we read it.
Yeah, so it'll be fine. It'll get done, hopefully within a year. But I don't know. So I hate all the red tape. I hate the dragging of the feet. So this is where I just get, I'm sure, whatever. So, okay. So, we've got our jobs that we need to do. So, I guess we can, if nobody has any new business, so we'll just, we'll adjourn, and, we'll just do the recommendation for that, which is, be it resolved that we will adjourn now to return at the call of the chair, or basically, October 30th. So I just need a mover and a seconder for that, please. Perfect,
Mhm.
Deb. And a seconder. We'll do Kyle. And all in favor? Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, because that's half the battle. And we'll see you on October 30th.
See you
Okay.
later.